Did anybody notice the pause in the real estate market this week? It's true. The real estate market this past week kind of slowed down, actually. There were fewer listings on the market, fewer sales turned in, and I think there's a whole lot of reasons why. So let's just jump into the show this week and see if we can't figure out what's happening. One thing that did happen this week, which was kind of cool, is we actually hit 10,000 closed sales on August 12th. Now, if you notice here, we took us 20 days to hit 9,000 sales, and let's go over here and hit that button. 17 days is all it took to hit 10,000 sales. So that extra 1,000 from 9 to 10,000 only took 17 days this year. And that was the exact same period of time it took last year, which means that I think what's happening is a lot of the mortgage lenders out there and the processing escrow companies are still maybe at a higher capacity of processors, and things are closing maybe just a little bit faster. We certainly aren't seeing the number of homes going to contract speed up, but we are seeing closings kind of happen a little bit faster. And that's going to come back and be pretty evident as we move into the fall here, because there just isn't the number of homes for sale that are going to really dictate us to be going up close to that 17,000 closed sales mark like we did last year. So, but anyway, looks like it was about 17, maybe 16 days to go from 10,000 to 11, and that's the green line there. And we'll see if we do that again here in another 2.5 weeks or so, if we hit another 1,000. So let's keep our eye on that. The weekly dashboard this week, the big news on this one is basically look at the existing condo townhome number of homes for sale. There's 148 only of the existing condo townhome sales. That's 6% of our inventory. However, it's making up on the pending sales about 10% of our pending sales inventory at 258 homes under contract. That particular segment of our marketplace is still the fastest paced area of the real estate market. So if you have a condo townhome to sell and it's an existing home, not a brand new property, but an existing home, those things are selling still within about a half a week, and there's less than a month of inventory on that. So it's a good time to maybe jump into that. The median sale price on those existing condo townhomes is $206,750 right now. As far as it's still quite a bit more affordable, and that's kind of the key factor because it's the most affordable price point that we have in our marketplace. So we've closed at 1,183 of those so far this year. Anyway, we're still, like I said, still into a heavy buyer's market in the new construction, and still well into a seller's market in the existing home sales. And overall, we're still in a seller's market at 2.1 months here. So, all right. So, what is the cause for the pause? Just because here, I would say that the big reason why we're seeing a slowdown is maybe 4 different factors going on right now. Obviously, the big one was the Iowa State Fair. It started last Wednesday. It runs through this following Sunday. So a week from today, this is being recorded on Sunday. So 1 week from today, we will be at the end of the Iowa State Fair and its 10-day run. But also, there's a lot of summer vacations going on right now. That's kind of taking over, I think, some of the activities and taking some of the business away from the real estate industry right now. Frankly, it's just been too hot as well. There was a couple of days there last week or so that our heat indexes were right at 100, and we actually were hitting close to 100 degrees at the physical temperature. So I know that, that does have an effect on the real estate market. And of course, back to school is coming around the corner. So these 4 factors are something that typically always affects August. And I know it was John Niemeyer, my buddy down at Exit Realty in Norwalk, had done a little bit of analysis 2 or 3 years ago on whether the state fair caused the business to slow down, and I did a little bit of analytics on that myself the last year, and I'll have to dig that out after this coming week to see if it really truly is causing our business to slow down, but I think it's probably a combination of all four of these factors, just the summer vacations, the heat, and back to school, as well as the fair. So what do I mean by the August pause here? This is the all homes for sale graphic. So this is the number of homes on the market, and we've been seeing steady increase each week. That little bump you see on that graphic on the red area bar there that goes up, you see that last week we pushed well into 2,600, and this week we dipped back down, and we're basically back underneath or right at 25 or 2,600 now, but still in that 2,500s count, 2580, 2590. And it's just this little section right here. You can see that we just never appeared this week. We just didn't have that growth. And I think that's just, kind of part of the reason why we feel like the market slowed down without new inventory. That's really what drives the weekly sale pendings, because buyers get out there to see the new stuff, and then they also get out there to maybe see what else is for sale. And so we've had some pretty good weeks of business here. Still behind last year, but still it feels like a pretty active market. We look at this and we break it down by existing homes, and you can see that, it's existing homes are mostly to blame here. That same little dip there is pretty obvious here this past week. We actually were well over 1,200. We were over 1,200 homes for sale last week, and we're back down to about 1,160 or so right now in the existing home sales. And if you look at the condo townhomes, it also had a little bit of a dip, and we're up back under 158 existing condo townhomes for sale. And so how that compares to new construction, you can see that on the left here, the green bar, that's new homes, and the yellow ones on the right are the new condo townhomes. And even though the new construction homes had a little bit of a flattening out there, it still did not really dips per se. And we've seen pretty steady growth of new construction inventory as the weeks go by. The new condo townhomes pretty much just flattened out. I mean, it dropped just a tad, but when we're only looking at about 260 homes on the market, it's not really a big change between 260 and 265. So that pretty well flattened out as well. And this is the graphic that really tells the story. This will be the headline graphic for the week. This is week 32. We brought on 256 homes this week, and you have to go all the way back to week 11, 21 weeks ago, to find a week that we had fewer homes added to the market in a given week. We had 239 that week. And honestly, I look back on the calendar, look back on weather to see, what happened that week that, that maybe caused that particular week to be so slow or few of listings. The weather wasn't bad. It was in the, typical 30s to 40s, I think, that week. It was St. Patrick's Day, so maybe everybody was planning to go party that week. I don't know, but we had to go all the way back to week 11, and then prior to that, it was all the way back into January, late January, early February that we actually had fewer listings. So I think that this is going to be a one and done week. Well, maybe 2 weeks here, because we'll see what this next week happens with inventory. But I don't think that this is going to continue on for much longer than maybe next week, and we'll start to see the new listings added back to the marketplace. This is one graphic that we really haven't talked about a whole lot in the past. I bring it up every once in a while. This is the showing activity report that comes from our Showing Time app program that realtors use to open lock boxes, and they're able to, and as well as schedule appointments. And this is Showing Time, so it's scheduling of the appointments. And you can see the orange line kind of mirrors 2021, which is that dark line right near the arrow there. It pretty well mirrors that from about May 1st on. Prior to that, it was staying fairly close to May business, but you can kind of see that if you think in your mind interest rates rising as the year went by, you can kind of see that things are kind of slowing down a little bit as far as showings, and it's going back to till about that third week of March or so, and then the business kind of picked up. So what we're seeing is even though we have a rise in interest rates and maybe a little bit of a slowdown in sales activity, we're still seeing a lot more showings. We're seeing about that same pace by the looks of this as we were last year, which last year was just crazy. And that's a good sign. I think that buyers are feeling like they're able to get out and see a few more homes. I know I've had buyers out this past week, and we're looking at several houses, and we're looking over several days. It's not just a, gee, here's a house, you better take a look at it and buy it situation anymore. And that's that's definitely a sign of the marketplace. So, all right, one last graphic. Let's finish the show this week with the look at the national mortgage interest rates. I follow this rate every single week. This is the National Mortgage Association. I think it's the Mortgage Bankers Association, I believe, who puts this out. But you can see that in January, we were at 3.22% for the 30-year fixed rate mortgage, and we're currently at 5.22%. That's a full 2% higher than we were at the lowest point this year. And if you're going to look for something that's maybe positive out of this, I think the rise has maybe ended, at least for a while. You can see from about May 20, that May period there for 2022, that's the 22 at the bottom there, May 2022, going across, you can see that, there was a little bit of a jump in June, and then it dropped back down again in July, and it dropped again in August, and just this past week spiked up just a little bit. But at 5.22%, your buying power for that $1,200 a month mortgage payment of principal and interest only on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, I think I got that all spelled out there, is $218.44 versus $276 earlier in the year. That's a buying power drop of about $58,000, $59,000 for that same payment. Now, that doesn't mean that people can't afford more, and they were willing to pay more, because we've talked about that in the past as well, that really the days of overpaying for a house because it's the only one out there, I think, are pretty well slowing down. We're now just seeing offers that come in, at or maybe just a little above list price, not the crazy $20,000-$30,000 over like we've seen in the past. So anyway, that's the graphic. I hadn't shown it for a while, so I thought it would be a good time to bring it on again. So with that, let's say thank you for coming to the show each week. And please hit that like button, if you would, the thumbs up button. And also leave any comments you have at the bottom of the show there. There's a place for you to leave comments. And I would love to hear your questions and comments and see if we can answer some questions in the coming weeks. In 2 weeks, we're going to talk about the cycle of the real estate market. I've got a real good article I'm putting out by the end of the month, and I'm going to introduce it in 2 weeks. And we'll talk about that and show you some good graphics on that. So be sure to come back next week, but the following week after that is going to be a really good show as well. So thanks again. Go enjoy the Iowa State Fair. Go enjoy your vacations. Go pack your school kids' clothes. Get them ready to go here. We got to get back to school. So talk to you all again next week. Thanks for joining me.